population of Indonesia is 275,439,000.
That's how many potential customers this next project has. Buckle up, it's gonna be a wild ride. What's going on, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood FUD fighter, Michael T. Ragland, coming right at you. If you've never been in this channel before, we get to the point, straight, fast, and furious. If you have any questions, there's a link to the Discord below. There's also a link to a little cheat sheet that you can follow along with all the stuff we'll be talking about today. But without further ado, guys, let's get right to it. Let's go. All right, today's project is called Tokocrypto. It's based out of Indonesia, and what it actually is, it is a Cefi DeFi project. Don't worry if you don't know what any of those terms mean. We're going to jump into the white paper in a minute and actually have a look at it. But what it's actually trying to do is bring the understanding of cryptocurrency to Indonesia, which has about 3.5% of the world's population, to get it integrated into their normal lives, into their banking, into their normal day-to-day transactions, to help foster that widespread understanding of cryptocurrency, to help out a country like Indonesia. So if you don't know, there's about 17,000 geographically segregated islands over in Indonesia, with about 60% of that 275 million population being unbanked. So it's a perfect place to bring in cryptocurrency to actually make a difference. We're actually going to think like investors, and we're going to jump right into the white paper. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you by reading line by line through this white paper, but I want to get you to start thinking like an investor. So what investors do is that they look at the white papers, they look at the pitch decks, and they go through and pick out the important points before they make a decision on whether or not they want to invest in a company. So I'm going to give you the TLDR version of this white paper. There's also a link down below of all the important parts about this company as well that you can download, a little cheat sheet there. But let's jump right into it. The important thing about this one is, since they launched their mobile app back in October 2020, they already have about 30,000 weekly active traders. They have over 25 million in daily trading volume and 240,000 downloads since that app launched, and a user base of 281,000 people. So remember what I said before, it's about 275 million potential customers in Indonesia for a project like this. So that's not even 1%, it's like 0.9 or something percent of people that are caught on. So if you're looking for something with a high upside, sometimes it's worth looking outside of the area that you're from and going to these emerging markets, because they're gonna actually set the precedent for the rest of the world for a project like this. All right, so going through here as well, when you're looking at a project and you're doing your own research, you want to try to figure out what the heck is the value proposition. Everything has to have its own unique value proposition to actually matter in the marketplace, right? So with this one, we don't have to look at too much. We already talked about it. They're building up their social media presence, over 200K Telegram followers. We don't care about that. Within 3 years of operation, they already are starting to build that trust. So that's important. They're already got that first moves advantage in Indonesia, but they've had a 3-year head start. It's been out since 2018 there, and they've already built up trust amongst their user base. So that's very important. In a second, I'll talk about how it actually works, and you'll understand why it's important to have a trusted exchange for these type of things. And you always want to read into why the tokens are important as well. So of course, you can trade the TKO token. It's been kind of on fire lately, by the way. So here's where it gets interesting. Remember, you can actually do deposit and savings with this. So when I say Cefi, I mean centralized finance. So it allows you to use your centralized finance bank account and their mobile apps to kind of on-ramp over to DeFi. Keep that in mind as we move on to talk a little bit more of the ecosystem. So remember, that token allows you to participate in their deposit and savings program, as well as the BIDR, so the Binance Rupiah. And then of course, you can use it cross-platform in other DeFi plays as well, in farming and lending pools, which we'll get into in a second. And you can use it in the NFT or arcade, which is another space they're looking to get into with it. So here's my favorite part of this whole thing. But let's walk you through this step by step and talk about how it's going to gain widespread adoption throughout Indonesia and any other countries that it wants to take hold in. This is a perfect little blueprint for crypto. Keep in mind, this is something very similar to what Cardano was trying to do as well in Africa. But jumping straight in, first thing, the banks and the mobile wallets, which we all know and understand, you can go ahead and go on there and buy that stablecoin, which is the BIDR or the Binance Digital Rupiah. Then you can change it into the TKO token. Once you have that TKO token, now you'll be integrated into the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem, and to be able to do everything that you want to do in crypto, buying NFTs, yield farming, staking, selling it for something else. It's a BEP20 token. It's on the Binance chain. That is one of their partners, remember? So once again, taking it back to the beginning, Cefi. The Cefi side of it is going to be the banks and a mobile wallet. And then when you jump into the stable coin, you're in between Cefi and DeFi. And then as soon as you hit the Tokocrypto exchange, now you can jump into the DeFi world. So this is a perfect on-ramp and a very easy way to take your normal rupiahs and change that into cryptocurrency at your local bank or on your local app, right? Because remember, this is actually regulated by the Indonesian government. I know a lot of people hate regulation. I'm a crypto OG, so I've always looked at it like, I'm not sure if I want to jump in a regulated play. But remember, like I say all the time, we have to get widespread adoption and practical use case of these cryptocurrencies. So in this case, I'm not worried about it being regulated. It makes sense. You're going to get that trust amongst consumers, and you're going to get people used to using BIDR and jumping on with the TKO token as well. I want to talk about something you guys may have not considered before. What if you could use your NFTs as collateral for a loan? So something like Tokocrypto, when it's tied into your centralized finance and your DeFi, they're talking about a way that you may be able to say, hey, you know what? I want to take this crypto kitty or this Axie character to actually use this as collateral to get a stable coin loan in the digital rupiah or US dollar or AUD or whatever your digital stable coin is. And once you pay that loan back, you actually get your NFT back as well. So things like this are super cool, because if you guys didn't know, you can use art as collateral for loans and things like that as well in the real world. So this is where this gets real fun on projects like Toko Token. Imagine being able, if you had a nice collection of crypto kitties that you bought in 2017, being able to use that to get stable coin loans. I just want to throw that out there for you guys to kind of think about. That's something that we're headed for in the future. All right, at this time, we should have enough information to jump over on CoinMarketCap and have a look at the tokenomics. And let me walk you through what I'll look at. So jumping in here again, I always want to look at what the circulating supply is and the max supply. So I can see that there's 108 million out there circulating there with the max supply of 500 million there on a lifetime. So solid numbers. And I also like to look at the volume to see what's happening right now. So I can see in the past 24 hours, there's been about $41 million of volume. Keep in mind, it's a bit frothy right now because they just had the TKO summit recently, where they had an interview with CZ from Binance and a couple of other things happening. So that has people's interest peaked a little bit around it. That's why we're seeing all of this trading volume in there. And we can see that reflected on the chart as well, where it's peaked up to about $1.75 to $1.80. Other things I'd like to look at as well, outside of trading volume and circulating supply, is looking at which wallets are holding it and what percentage and how it's actually broken down and divided. But another thing that I probably hadn't showed you guys before is that I like to jump in and I like to talk about the ICO and show how the tokens are actually distributed amongst the community when it launched. So on the roadmap, remember, they just launched first quarter of this year. And if we go back to the ICO tab inside of CoinMarketCap, we can actually see that the initial offering ended on April the 7th, right? 4 months ago, they had 75 million TKO that they distributed, and it's pretty equitable. So a public sale, 15%, private sale was 1%. So I don't like to see huge numbers in the private sale. So that's great. Right to the foundation was 20% for further improvements, marketing 17%. You guys can read that yourself, and a 10% airdrop and only 15% to the team. So that lets us know that it's not too controlled by the actual team that's behind TKO token. Because remember, if you're looking at a sign of a rug pull or something that can easily be manipulated, look at the actual percentage that the team owns of that liquidity in the token. So if you look at this one, we know that it's 108 million out there since this launched back in April. 50% of that's owned by the team. The majority is owned by the foundation, which is fine. As long as they're being responsible with that, I'm not worried about it at all. And we got 108 million out there right now, the max supply of 500 million. So plenty of room there as well. But remember, we already have around 275 million customers alone in Indonesia who are going to use this on their day-to-day basis. And we hadn't even talked about the traders like me and you who are actually going to take advantage of this and help bring along that adoption by investing in the TKO token. So there's plenty of room for this one as well. And if we look at the total market cap of only 186 million, so that ranks at 245 on the CoinMarketCap chart. So plenty of space to run up and get higher there as well as widespread adoption comes around. I wouldn't be surprised in the next few months to see that rise up and easily touch $2 or $3 just based on the TKO summit and some of the things they're doing to bring attention to Toko token. I always like to go into the wallets and see what's happening on chain as well in any project. So let's go ahead and have a look at one of the explorers. Remember, this is a BEP20 token, so you can find the information about what wallets are holding this on BSC scan. So looking at it right now, I can see that there's an address with 81%, and that's $703 million of value inside of it. There's another one with 14%. And I like how they have the Binance hot wallets listed here as well. So I don't know if that's the actual crypto that's being kept on the exchange, but if I was taking a guess, I would think that's the actual money that's tied up on exchanges from other people when I see these two hot wallets, number 6 and 7 here, and the amount of money that they have in them. And then these top two are very interesting as well. We don't know if this is a team or if these are just whales holding it, right? So 81% is scary, but it's very easy for us to go in and do a little bit more research to find out who's actually holding that. But based on what I've seen with this project, I'm not really worried about anything nefarious. I know that it is regulated by the Indonesian government, which it needs to be because it does bridge the Cefi and DeFi world. I understand the regulation behind it, so we may see wallets holding a bigger percentage like that. But that's worth diving in on your own and doing your own DD to find out who's holding 81% and if you're comfortable with that when you invest. I'm just showing you guys what I look at when I go in on these projects. Another thing to look at on all these projects is the actual burn schedule. Every quarter, they're going to burn about 10% of those new tokens that are generated. This is very important in cryptocurrency to burn some of those tokens that are either generated by fees or some of the normal ones that are on the exchanges, because remember, supply and demand are actually what's going to make some of these tokens valuable on the exchange. So the more that you can actually burn, you can keep that supply down and keep it deflationary by burning 10% every quarter. I'm not going to lie, I love projects like this because it has an actual practical use case and you can see how it can quickly get widespread adoption. Keep in mind, Indonesia has 3.5% of the world's population, and even more of that is spread out through Southeast Asia. So if something like Tokocrypto catches on, we can see a huge project coming and that price can really rise. And more importantly, we can help some of those 60% of people who are unbanked. They've ticked every goal on their roadmap. So I have full confidence in a project like Tokocrypto and the team behind it to deliver on what they said that they're going to deliver on. So remember, guys, we went through this super fast and furious. I included a cheat sheet down below in the description, so click on that. You can grab it. I've also put a link to the Discord down below where you can join up and ask any questions you may have about this project or any other video. Now it's time for you to click right up here and watch whatever video that YouTube thinks may be best for you next, because I got heaps of them, guys. Thanks for watching. It's your friendly neighborhood FUD fighter, Michael T. Ragland, signing right off. Peace.